The alarm rings, you open your eyes, and the numbers on the clock are a soft blur. You blink, rub your eyes, and for a long minute, everything stays foggy, like the room woke up but your eyes didn't get the memo. By the time your coffee is gone, the world sharpens again, and you tell yourself it's nothing. But it's not nothing, because 3 weeks later, you're squinting at your phone at night, quietly bumping the font size up, and a month after that, oncoming headlights don't look like lights anymore. They look like white fireworks scattered across the windshield, and your hands tighten on the wheel without you deciding to do it. If any of that sounds familiar, stay with me. Because there's a very strong chance you've been told, or have told yourself, that this is simply what getting older does. And that's only half the story. I'm an eye care physician, and I spend my days inside the biology of vision. I'm not going to give you my name today, because this isn't about me, it's about what the research actually shows about one of the most overlooked habits in all of eye health, what you eat in the hour or two before bed. Here's what I hear in my office, week after week, from people over 50. My prescription hasn't changed, so why is everything harder to see? I wake up with dry, gritty eyes, and it takes an hour before I can read properly. I pass the eye chart, so why do headlights look like starbursts? Notice the pattern. Standard eye tests are excellent at catching fast-moving emergencies, the torn retina, the sudden pressure spike, but the conditions that quietly steal vision over years, the slow buildup of oxidative damage, the thinning of the retina's protective pigment, the gradual clouding of the lens, move at a pace the annual exam was never designed to catch. They progress in the spaces between appointments, silently, while you assume everything is fine. The scale of this is bigger than most people know. The World Health Organization estimates that at least 2.2 billion people live with some form of vision impairment, and for at least 1 billion of them, it could have been prevented or is still unaddressed. In the United States, the National Eye Institute projects that the number of Americans with blindness or low vision will more than double by 2050. Vision loss isn't a niche health story, it's one of the defining health challenges of the coming decades. But here's the part that changes everything, and it's the part almost no one tells you. Your eye is not a passive camera that slowly wears out. It is one of the most biologically active tissues in your entire body. The retina runs a permanent renovation program. The light-sensitive cells at the back of your eye constantly shed their worn tips, and a support layer called the retinal pigment epithelium clears away the debris and supplies the building blocks for the fresh segments that replace them. This is genuine physical repair happening every day, orchestrated by your internal clock. And like any construction site, that repair program needs deliveries. Specific raw materials. The yellow pigments lutein and zeaxanthin, which accumulate in the macula and act as your eye's built-in blue light filter. The antioxidant pigments called anthocyanins that dark berries carry. Vitamin C, which pools around your lens and retina at concentrations far higher than in your blood. And melatonin, the molecule we mostly think of as a sleep hormone, but the retina is packed with melatonin receptors, and research suggests this molecule quietly supports the survival of the very cells that let you see. So the repair machinery is real, and the raw materials are real. Which leaves one question almost nobody asks: are you delivering those materials at the right time? Because here's the uncomfortable logistical truth. Most of us eat our eye-friendly fruit in the morning and afternoon, berries over breakfast, and orange at the desk. Then, after dinner, nothing. By the time your eyes settle into their nightly maintenance window, that breakfast bowl has already been metabolized. The delivery arrived 8 hours after the construction crew went home. That's why the real question isn't just which fruit to eat, it's which fruit, at which time, eaten with what, and prepared how. Nail those 4 variables and the science becomes genuinely encouraging, not miracle claims. Real biochemistry working in your favor night after night. Today I'll give you the 7 fruits the research points to as the best evening choices for eye health, counting down to number 1. And I'll spoil the ending now because it's the most surprising finding on this list. The fruit at number 1 is not a berry, not a citrus, not an exotic import with a health aisle price tag. It's a small, dark, tart fruit most people only think about around the holidays. And it works on your eyes through 2 separate pathways at once. It improves the quality of the very sleep in which your eyes repair, and it delivers a class of antioxidant compounds that vision research keeps circling back to. When I describe it, you'll realize it's been sitting in your freezer section all along. Quick note before we start, and I say this genuinely, I'm a physician, but I'm not your physician. Everything in this video is educational information, not personalized medical advice. If you're experiencing real vision changes, sudden blur, flashes, floaters, or any worrying symptom, see a licensed eye care professional before changing your diet, supplements, or habits. Your eyes are too important to gamble on a video. With that said, let's begin. Number 7. Kiwi. Small, unassuming, routinely skipped in the produce aisle for shinier fruit. For aging eyes, that's a genuine mistake. Start with the problem kiwi addresses: poor overnight recovery. You sleep a solid 7 or 8 hours and still wake up with eyes that feel tired, dry, and slow to focus. That fog isn't just dry air. Your eyes spent the night running their renovation program, and when sleep quality slips, that overnight maintenance gets compressed and you feel it as morning blur. Kiwi attacks this from 2 directions. First, it's a powerhouse for the eye itself. A single kiwi delivers roughly a full day's worth of vitamin C, the nutrient your lens and its surrounding fluid actively concentrate to defend against oxidative stress, and it carries usable amounts of lutein and zeaxanthin, the 2 macular pigments we'll keep coming back to. Second, kiwi is one of the few common fruits that contains measurable amounts of both serotonin and melatonin, the same molecules your brain uses to regulate sleep. Eating kiwi in the evening is delivering sleep-regulating compounds in food form, and this isn't folklore. A well-known trial published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition took 24 adults with sleep problems and had them eat 2 kiwis 1 hour before bed for 4 weeks. By the end, they were falling asleep faster, sleeping longer, and overall sleep quality scores improved by more than 40%. How to use it: 2 kiwis, about an hour before bed, cut in half and scooped with a spoon. And here's the detail people get wrong: don't strip the flesh right under the skin. That outer ring is where much of the fruit's vitamin C and antioxidant activity concentrates, so leave it intact. Golden varieties are especially rich and sit easier on a sensitive stomach late at night. One more thing, because kiwi is sweet and low in calories, it doubles as the late-night dessert replacement, satisfying the 9 o'clock craving without the sugar spike of cookies or ice cream. Number 6. Blackcurrants. Tiny, deep purple, intensely tart, almost impossible to find fresh in most American grocery stores. For eye health, that's a shame, because blackcurrants may be the most impressive berry on this list for one specific problem: circulation to the back of the eye. Here's the issue they're built to address. The retina is one of the most oxygen-hungry tissues in your body, and as we age, blood flow to it gradually slows. The visible results: struggling in dim light, halos around headlights, eyes that strain in dark restaurants, a slower adjustment when you step from bright daylight into a dark room. These are circulation symptoms, and no stronger glasses prescription on earth fixes a blood flow problem. Blackcurrants are one of the richest dietary sources of anthocyanins on the planet, the deep pigments that give dark berries their color. In dozens of studies, anthocyanins have been shown to support blood vessel health, reduce low-grade inflammation, and improve blood flow in small vessels, exactly the system your optic nerve and retina depend on. The clinical evidence here is genuinely strong. In a 2-year randomized placebo-controlled study published in the journal Ophthalmologica, patients with open-angle glaucoma received 50 milligrams of blackcurrant anthocyanins daily. Compared to placebo, they showed significantly improved blood flow to the retina and optic nerve head, and measurably slower progression of visual field loss. A second trial in the Journal of Ocular Pharmacology and Therapeutics found that blackcurrant anthocyanins help normalize endothelin-1, a molecule that constricts blood vessels when it rises too high, while increasing retinal blood flow without disturbing eye pressure. If blackcurrants can improve ocular circulation in compromised eyes, they're very likely supporting circulation in healthy aging eyes too. How to use it: fresh blackcurrants are a rare find, so use frozen or a standardized extract with the anthocyanin content on the label, aiming for about 50 milligrams in the evening. Pair it with a few walnuts or a slice of avocado, because anthocyanin absorption improves when the berries travel with a little fat. A scoop of frozen blackcurrants, warmed and mashed, makes a tart, delicious evening compote that needs no added sugar. That's number 6. Number 5 is a berry you almost certainly have in your kitchen right now. But most people are eating the wrong version and canceling out half the benefit. Number 5, blueberries. Here's what I hear in my clinic all the time: I eat blueberries every morning in my yogurt bowl, so my eyes are covered, right? Maybe, but probably not to the degree you think, because 2 very different things are sold under the name blueberry. The compounds that make blueberries extraordinary for the eye are anthocyanins, the pigments that give the berry its deep blue-purple color. Anthocyanins are small enough to concentrate in retinal tissue, where they act as antioxidants and support the health of the delicate blood vessels and light-sensing cells. Research on bilberries, the wild European cousin of the blueberry, shows that regular anthocyanin intake can reduce eye fatigue and speed dark adaptation. But here's the catch: anthocyanin content varies wildly by type. The large, plump, cultivated blueberries bred for size and sweetness have measurably lower anthocyanin density than their small wild relatives. Researchers at the University of Maine report that wild blueberries carry significantly more of these protective pigments than cultivated ones, and some comparisons show up to double the antioxidant activity. The small, dark ones, usually in the frozen section, are where the real concentration lives. And frozen is every bit as good as fresh, because anthocyanins survive freezing well. There's also a preparation mistake. Anthocyanins sit inside the berry cells, and freezing then thawing, or lightly mashing, breaks down those cell walls and dramatically increases how much pigment you absorb. Eat them straight from the container and a large fraction passes right through you. One more detail that surprises people. If your habit is blueberries stirred into dairy, some research indicates milk proteins can bind to anthocyanins and reduce absorption. The workaround is free, so why risk it? Use a plant milk or eat them plain. How to use it? About 2/3 of a cup of wild blueberries, the small dark ones, 45 minutes before bed. Thaw frozen berries halfway, mash them lightly, and eat them with a few walnut pieces. Tart, satisfying, no added sugar. Number 4. Avocado. This one surprises people because avocado doesn't look like an eye food, but the clinical evidence connecting avocado to the aging eye is among the strongest of any fruit on this list. Remember the yellow pigments, lutein and zeaxanthin. They're the only two nutrients that physically accumulate in the center of your retina, the macula, where they act as an internal blue light filter and antioxidant shield. Raising their density is the single best dietary strategy for eye health, confirmed by the National Eye Institute's own AREDS research. And here's the problem. Lutein in plants like spinach is tightly locked inside the leaf, and a lot of it survives digestion poorly. The carotenoid your retina needs most is the one your gut has the hardest time releasing. Avocado solves this twice over. It contains a meaningful amount of lutein, and that lutein comes packaged inside healthy fats. Carotenoids are fat-soluble. Without fat, most lutein leaves your body undigested. A 6-month randomized controlled trial published in the journal Nutrients gave one group of older adults 1 avocado a day. At the end of 6 months, that group showed significant increases in blood lutein and, critically, measurable increases in macular pigment density with no change in the control group. Lutein moved from the fruit into the blood and literally into the retina. That's a clean demonstration of cause and effect. How to use it. Half a medium avocado in the early evening, about an hour before bed, mashed with lime or spread on thin whole grain toast. And here's a genuinely clever pairing. Eat it alongside your blueberry or blackcurrant bowl. The fat helps your gut absorb not just avocado's lutein, but the fat-soluble pigments from every other fruit on this list. It's the delivery vehicle that makes everything else work better. Number 3. Goji berries. These small, bright red, slightly sweet dried berries have centuries of traditional use behind them, and for the last 15 years, modern research has lined up behind one eye claim with unusual consistency. They raise the protection of your macula. Let's go back to zeaxanthin. Lutein and zeaxanthin are twins that split the work. Lutein accumulates in the outer ring of the macula, while zeaxanthin concentrates in its dead center, the fovea, the tiny zone responsible for your sharpest detail vision, reading, threading a needle, recognizing faces. If lutein is the fortress walls, zeaxanthin is the keep. And dietary zeaxanthin is rarer than lutein. Spinach gives you mostly lutein. Goji berries are unusual because they deliver a large amount of zeaxanthin specifically, in a form the body absorbs well. A randomized controlled trial published in Nutrients in 2021 assigned healthy adults to eat roughly an ounce of dried goji berries 5 days a week for 90 days, or to take a supplement or a control. Only the goji group showed a significant increase in macular pigment optical density, the direct measure of how much protective pigment has accumulated in the retina. In fact, the goji group outperformed the commercial supplement. An earlier clinical study in people with early age-related macular degeneration reported the same direction of effect. Regular goji intake raised blood zeaxanthin and improved macular pigment. How to use it. 2 tablespoons of dried goji berries soaked in warm water for 10 minutes until they plump, eaten about 40 minutes before bed. Soaking softens them for older digestive systems and releases pigment into the water, which you should drink too. And pair them with a few almonds or walnuts. Zeaxanthin is fat-soluble, and that fat turns a mediocre delivery into an excellent one. Number 2. Oranges and citrus in general. You knew citrus had to appear somewhere because every eye-focused nutrient panel includes vitamin C. But the full case for citrus is bigger, and it connects directly to the biggest vision problems of aging. First, the direct evidence for oranges and the macula. The Blue Mountains Eye Study, a long-running population study of older Australians, followed thousands of people for 15 years. The researchers reported that people who ate at least one serving of oranges a day had roughly a 60% lower risk of developing late-stage macular degeneration compared to those who rarely ate oranges. That's a large signal for a single fruit, and the researchers pointed at flavonoids, not vitamin C, as the likely driver. Oranges, and especially the white pith, are rich in hesperidin, a flavonoid with striking antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity. Second, there's a quieter story about citrus and the lens. Your lens is made of proteins that must stay crystal clear for life. One process that progressively clouds them is glycation, where sugar and reactive molecules latch onto lens proteins and form advanced glycation end products, the same compounds that stiffen arteries and wrinkle skin. Glycation is one of the most consistent findings in cataract research. And hesperidin's chemical relative, hesperitin, has been shown in laboratory studies published in Molecular Medicine Reports to reduce glycation damage in lens proteins and slow cataract formation in experimental models. That's early, lab-level research, not a human trial, so I won't oversell it. But it aligns with a large body of evidence linking higher citrus and vitamin C intake with a lower risk of cataract progression. How to use it. 1 whole orange or 2 mandarins, about an hour before bed, pith included. And resist replacing the fruit with juice. Juice strips the fiber, spikes blood sugar faster, and that spike is exactly what feeds glycation in the first place. Whole fruit, not juice. That single habit does more for your lens over a decade than most supplements ever will. And now, number 1. The fruit that tops the list, and the one I teased in the opening. Tart cherries. Let me set up why they win, because it's a double mechanism no other fruit on this list matches. Pathway 1 is sleep, and sleep is when your eyes do their heavy physical repair. Tart cherries are one of the few foods that naturally contain melatonin, the molecule your brain uses to open the door to deep sleep. The clinical work here is real, and it was done in older adults specifically. In a placebo-controlled trial published in the Journal of Medicinal Food, older adults with insomnia drank tart cherry juice twice a day for 2 weeks. Compared to placebo, they slept about 85 minutes longer per night, a genuinely large effect for any sleep intervention. A related study published in the European Journal of Nutrition showed that tart cherry concentrate raised melatonin levels in urine and measurably improved sleep quality. More sleep and better structured sleep means more hours for your retinal pigment epithelium to run its nightly cleanup. Pathway 2 is the anthocyanin story again, but with the deepest pigment profile of almost anything you can eat. Tart cherries are among the most concentrated natural anthocyanin sources available, and anthocyanins have the clearest track record for retinal blood vessel health and reducing oxidative damage in light-sensing cells. And here's where a recent line of research connects the dots. A large cohort study published in JAMA Ophthalmology in 2024 found that people who used melatonin regularly had a significantly lower risk of developing age-related macular degeneration and a lower risk of progression in those who already had it. Correlation, not proof. I'll be straight about that. But combine that with laboratory evidence that light-sensitive cells carry dense melatonin receptors, and a coherent picture emerges. Supporting the melatonin pathway in aging adults is starting to look like a genuinely protective strategy for the retina. Tart cherries support that pathway naturally, no pill required. How to use them. Forget the syrup-soaked maraschino things in cocktail jars. You want tart cherries, often labeled Montmorency, in frozen or unsweetened juice form. About 3/4 of a cup of frozen tart cherries, warmed slightly, 45 minutes before bed. If you use juice, keep it to a few ounces, because even natural juice carries sugar. And the whole point is avoiding a late-night glycemic spike. Slightly tart, deeply colored, unbelievably simple. That's your number 1. Before you rush off, there are 5 rules that determine whether any of this actually works. Eat every fruit on this list the wrong way, and you capture a fraction of the benefit. Get these right and you multiply everything. Rule 1. Timing. Eat your fruit 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Too early and the nutrients have peaked and cleared before the retina's overnight repair window fully opens. Too late and active digestion fragments the deep sleep your eyes need. The window matters. Rule 2. Never eat these fruits alone. The star nutrients, lutein, zeaxanthin, and the rest are all fat-soluble. Even a little fat can multiply absorption. A few walnuts, a slice of avocado, a teaspoon of flaxseed oil. One small pairing turns the same bowl of fruit into far better delivery. Rule 3. Wash gently and eat the skin. The anthocyanins and flavonoids concentrate in and just beneath the skins of berries and currants. Aggressive scrubbing strips a real portion. Rinse under cool water right before eating, pat dry, and stop there. Rule 4. Whole fruit over juice every time. Juice removes the fiber that slows sugar absorption and concentrates the very glucose that feeds glycation in the lens. Water for drinking, whole fruit for eating, and no added sugar. Rule 5. Consistency beats intensity. Macular pigment doesn't rise in a week. In the avocado trial, the change came at 6 months. In the Goji trial, at 90 days. This is a slow, cumulative system that rewards the person who eats the same small bowl of fruit every night for a year, not the one who binges and quits. Think of it as brushing your teeth for your eyes, small, daily, boring, and outrageously effective over time. So let's bring it all together. Vision loss isn't a single disease. It's a collection of slow biochemical processes, oxidative stress, low-grade inflammation, deteriorating microcirculation, and the quiet sugar-driven process of glycation. None of them are inevitable. And a growing body of research suggests that a handful of ordinary fruits eaten at the right time with the right companions can support your eye's overnight repair machinery while you sleep. Imagine waking up and reading the alarm clock immediately, no squinting, no fog. Imagine night driving where headlights are lights again. Imagine still reading menus without zooming in somewhere in your 70s. That's what this is about, not just retained vision, but retained independence. The faces, the sunsets, the words on a page, the things that make a life feel like yours. If your eyesight became noticeably clearer tomorrow morning, what would you look at first? Your grandkids, the garden, a favorite photograph? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely read them all. And if this helped you, share it with someone over 50 who struggles with their eyesight. You might be the reason they look at their fruit bowl differently tonight. And one last time, the honest part. I'm a physician and I've given you the best summary of the research I can, but I'm not your physician. This is education, not treatment, and it doesn't replace your own eye care professional. If something changes with your vision, see them first. Everything here is a complement, not a cure. Take care of your eyes. There is no spare pair.